Welcome to the Shaddo Show.
Good evening, everybody. How you doing? This is Mr. Shaddo, Ken. Tonight we're having episode 2. We're going to talk about the end of the world, and there's a lot of different ways, that the world can end. Most of us probably think World War III, mutually assured destruction, nuclear weapons, all that stuff. We're going to probably talk about that one tomorrow. But tip of the spear right now. All right, what's happening? What happened last night? Literally right before I went on. There's an 8.8, on the Richter scale, magnitude earthquake over in Russia, and yeah, it triggered tsunami warnings all over the West Coast, all around Hawaii. I will say that by the time the energy reached the West Coast of the United States, the energy was dissipated. It was a great distance to travel. It was absorbed, throughout the ocean, and we only had a couple of feet type stuff going on. But Hawaii also got like 5 or 6 feet high tsunami wave coming through. It caused panic. There's a lot of fear. There's just a good amount of fear about all sorts of shit. I don't think it's going to be the way that we want it to go, but we're going to talk tonight about potentially not necessarily world ending, but it will change the way the world was, if these things occur. And, I'm not going to lie, visions, right? Going on some trips on the mushrooms and being shown things. And one of those things was basically, they call it, they have immaculate constellation, but I mean, it's an immaculate constellation, right? Everything kind of goes into place at a certain time. Things converge. Boop, we got planetary alignment with the sun. We're lined up on Orion now. It's just crazy shit going on out there with the whole galaxy, the solar system. But right now we're at this point where we can measure all this stuff. Humanity has gotten to the point where, we're really smart. We were able to carbon date organic matter, figure out how old it is. We can do ice core samples. We can figure out how old those are. A lot of things we could do to learn about this place. And, everything right now seems to be on fucking fire. This is very true for at least the Northern Hemisphere. Because right now, even though it's really hot over here and we're in our summertime, we're actually I think we're the furthest from the sun right now. But the energy is hitting us exceptionally well. And that's because, pole shift. Magnetic pole reversal. We can measure. We know that basically the planet goes through these changes, and we know the last time that Yellowstone erupted was about several 100,000 years ago. And we can also tell that the pole shift thing happens about the same time frame, and we can also measure right now that our magnetosphere is weakening. All right, we're having increased volcanic activity because the planet's absorbing more energy from the sun. Wow. And literally this year, what has Trump admin done? They've gone through defunded FEMA, defunded NOAA, and everyone, we had crazy floods happen in Kerrville. Weather anomalies are getting wilder, climate change, whatever, okay? Man-made, man-assisted, maybe. Maybe we're just trying to haul ass and do whatever we can to fix this, because there's also 25 million or 25 trillion dollars that just we don't know where it's at. Beyond the deficit, right? Day before 9/11, Rumsfeld's like, "Fuck, we're missing 2 trillion." Well, 9/11, and everything was preparation. We got maps of supposed underground tunnels interconnected around the world, all this crazy shit. But we can keep it based in reality tonight, all right? Because it's here. It's doing shit. Things are getting weird. And, just to compare, this is something I posted on Facebook under my personal profile a while back. I'm like, what if Yellowstone blows its top? What can we do for that? And honestly, for me, I'm all about preparation. I'm not prepared for shit anymore. I'm fucking bankrupted. Who gives a shit? But mental preparation, that it's 90% physical, 10% mental, right? And well, we're in that space right now where we got to mentally prepare for possibly things escalating. Um, the Ring of Fire, right? That's essentially all of the Pacific Ocean goes on top of this plate, and then it rubs, on these continents. So if you look at California, they have this Great Basin in Southern California that used to be underwater. In fact, it used to have a huge ass lake about 50 years ago, but then all the water disappeared. It's not people consuming it; it's sinking back into the earth. And as the moon and the planet spins, the rise and fall of the tides, there's underwater oceans, all right? There's also underwater erosion. They've also spoken to basically underneath the Sierra Nevadas is a gigantic underwater ocean that's basically eating at the crust underneath, at the mantle. Mantle's making contact with the crust, and there's underwater oceans under there. And last night I kind of spoke to this, like the Leidenfrost effect. Something so fucking hot that water instantly boils, but it kind of forms a kind of shield around the water itself. But when it's underground and that effect happens, it's pressure, it's steam. It's, hell, just today there was a kid he fell into, over in Yellowstone, something ate away and he fell into it, got burned really bad. And that's, wow, okay. They said animals were running away from Yellowstone, but other people say, no, it's not real, it's just normal migratory patterns. Okay, well, whatever. All right, okay. The volcanoes are active all over the fucking planet. And, yeah, all that heat and pressure being absorbed by the sun, into the earth, and it's going to heat things up, and that shit's got to find a way out. That's it. And, if something really crazy happens under there, I'm sure people have watched Dante's Peak, a volcano back in the 90s. It's amazing how we only made 2 of those movies and then nothing else. And then we also made Armageddon, Deep Impact, and then no one's really talking about those things either. But hey, let's keep thinking that humans are the threat, and we're don't trust each other. And, oh, China this and Russia that. It's all bullshit, really. We're all just people trying to make sense of this stuff, and we're still a little primal. We got those instinctual natures. Combativeness, aggressiveness. All that stuff as a species. But then we also have the other side where it's like some of us are exceptionally smart, and we could see a little bit further into the future beyond people just butting heads all the time. And for me, I'm just like, we'll make peace when the world's on fire. As soon as we make peace, all of a sudden there's some other fucking thing we got to deal with. And right now, the thing that can bring us all together is actually let's take a look at this planet and see what's fucking occurring. Easy. Super easy, because it's so evident right now. And I just want to bring this over to the Tonga explosion from 22. I'm not sure if a lot of people heard about that eruption, but it was over in the Pacific, I believe, and it was huge, and that was South Pacific Ocean. It was captured on satellite, okay? And you could literally see this was the most violent eruption that we've had in a long time. And I'll just go ahead and show you guys, because it's pretty wild. It's right there. Nothing, that little dot turns into boom. Huge explosion. Launched stuff up to 57 kilometers into the air. That's wild. It's wild. Look at that energy. And that guy, first off, that's a volcano that was under the water. And yeah, pretty wild. The caldera for that volcano, 4 to 6 kilometers. 4 to 6 kilometers. Okay? A caldera is basically just where the magma collects underneath the ground. It's just like a volume of magma. Liquid magma. Yay! The chamber, less than 100 kilometers squared. I'm just gonna let it keep playing on loop here, so you guys can kind of just visualize what I'm talking about. This is taken from a satellite, low Earth orbit. That's wild. Just look at that. It pushes all the clouds away. All of that matter that's coming up, it's ash and soot. Okay, so that's what we call a pyroclastic flow. All right, and essentially that's what if Pompeii. All right, people, They, when they talk about Pompeii, they think of the people holding each other, laying on the ground, and how their body was essentially like solidified. But that's not necessarily true. What happened is they were covered in magma, and it cooked everything that was in there. Okay, and then over time, everything erodes, but the cavity in which that person existed in, it's no longer there. It's a hollow space. So they were able to actually fill it, do castor molds of those people that got killed in the Pompeii eruption. And just look at that. Just think of that. So caldera, right? At largest estimation was 6 kilometers, okay, in diameter. Yellowstone is 72 kilometers. Okay? Holy shit. The scale of that. Okay? And I've done a deep dive on this. Okay? If we have months ahead notice, like probably back in February is probably a good time to start doing this. We could evacuate people from the immediate surrounding areas. I've run this through Chat GPT, and it's like, oh yeah, AI, whatever. But this is a great way for me to like have a great idea about something and then parse out what might actually happen real time, and just to see, just play with the numbers. That's why we have these large language models that can process all this information for us, because we might have a thought about something being there, but this helps us kind of like see what it's going to actually look like. And just based on what's going on today with everything in politics and the government and all that shit, everyone's attention is on the wrong fucking things. Okay, yeah, Trump fucking whatever, dude. All right, that guy's gonna, I know where he's gonna end up, and it's not gonna be pleasant. And it's whatever, because it seems like the Earth is in the crosshairs of a few different species outside of it that are trying to control it and consume it. It's whatever. Okay, we're mere mortals. Okay, and we got to work with what we have in front of us here. And what we have after last night, okay, that volcano, or not volcano, it caused a volcano. That earthquake, that 8.8 magnitude earthquake, it caused a volcano. All right, caused the volcano to start blowing its load over there in Russia, right next to it. Pretty wild stuff. Okay, and you can see here, we got a little GIF of all the aftershocks. And just rapidly occurring immediately after that eruption, following on through into the morning. Okay, that's a lot. All right, and they're not little earthquakes. These are huge aftershocks. Highest one they found was at 6.9, and usually there's one big aftershock that's, they estimate like 1 magnitude less, so we're still expecting like a 7.7, another 8.0 aftershock to occur. And that's a lot of fucking energy. That is a lot of energy. That is a ton of energy that's being pushed up underneath the Pacific Ocean. Okay? And right now we can look around and see at the map exactly what's up with the Ring of Fire here. And as you can see here, guys, it's popping off kind of everywhere else. And we know this map might not be well, it should be up to date here. Oh, these are just currently active and erupting. It seems like they're missing the lead on this other Russian one that we obviously can see is going off over there. But Alaska has already had its own activity, okay? Going out there, and if you look everywhere else, all right, just to the south of us in Mexico, all of those, they have volcanoes in Mexico, all right? All of those are showing activity and eruptions and stuff like that. And it's all being really quiet on the media. It's like they don't really want to talk about it. They don't want to cause a panic. But there's a gaping area where there's not any activity occurring right now. Look at that. And it's all the West Coast. All the West Coast. And Yellowstone's in there. And they have a caldera that's like right in the middle there. We can go down in here and take a look. So Yellowstone's going to be kind of over yonder here. Okay. Right about y'all. All right. And what? All that pressure is pushing up on the one side of the Ring of Fire. Right on that tectonic plate. Boop. And it's essentially that much coverage. It's remember, the world is round. I don't give a fuck if you believe it's a flat earth. All right. And I'm artillery. I can tell you there's curvature. gotta, do the math on the Coriolis effect when we're shooting rounds downrange, really far. We're like, everyone's on fire except us right now. And if you think we're gonna escape that, num num num. And if it's all pushing up right there, and then the tectonic plates sliding underneath America, okay, it's all pressure. All right, pressure building on the top, and then it teeters off. It's the likelihood of it occurring is very high. It might just come out of like nowhere. It's so quiet. Oh, but then there's been like little signs of, was it earlier this year or last year, when there's a tour group going through that area, and all of a sudden one of a geyser just, and it like, holy shit, raining boiling hot water on everybody, and it blew a hole, blew the actual wood deck that they walk on to go see the geysers. It blew that away. There is so much pressure underneath, a lot of pressure, heat and pressure, build, right? And it's got to find a way out. And there's people out there that talk to like the younger Dryas, right? And that was, like the origin stories of every religion has flood myths, okay. And you look at the Vikings and their traditions, end of the world type shit, the Ragnarok, as it were. And Ragnarok is really like when the hellfire and brimstone, like those Baptists want to get into. It's not a religious thing. It's science. The planet has its cycles, and we have these low pressure, low volume density mass. Is that what it is? No, I gotta find it here. There's essentially, these two ginormous structures beneath the continents that look like the core is seeping into the mantle. It's really strange, but it's something that we can measure, with I don't even know the word for it, but basically measuring the vibrations that you get back from it. It's almost like a ground penetrating sonar, but like a much larger scale. And yeah, we have these huge masses under the earth, and they're ginormous, huge structures. Let's see if I can find it. I need to find it here. Okay, there we go. Large, low velocity provinces. Okay. And I'll show you guys here. These things are strange, but they're under there. Lost city of Atlantis. Reptilians that went to ground after a galactic war. The end of the dinosaurs scorched the atmosphere. Man, who the fuck knows? But it's just wild stuff out there all the time. And they're not going to talk about any of this shit, because, man, if people knew the world was going to end, they would not be going to work, they would not be paying their bills. All right? And then the greed has to stop. But here you go. Here's an excellent model of what I'm talking about here. You can see these things just kind of, it's huge structures under there. Ginormous. South Pacific, right? And we can call this the South Atlantic anomaly. Okay, and this is essentially because we can measure the Earth's magnetosphere, all right, and we can measure that that there's like a dip over there. It's weird. It's almost like there's something going on in South America. Nazi rat lines, Die Glocken, advanced technology beyond our means, an understanding at the time, right? Tesla came around, then he didn't. And now we have a company named Tesla run by a dude from South Africa. We gave the Zig Hail on the freaking on the podium over there. Man, these people, it's very interesting stuff. All kind of coming together. At the same time, the sun is always like a goddamn cannon shooting off coronal mass ejections. Boom, boom, boom. Just everything's a roll of the dice. Earth's in the crosshairs one of these days with this magnetosphere that's peeling off. That's why you guys have you can see the northern lights really far south. Last year we were able to see it in northern Texas and stuff. That's pretty weird. The Earth is changing. And pole flip, well, it's all part of that. It's all part of that pole flip. And if Old Faithful is Old Faithful, I'm sure Yellowstone is also going to do the fucking same thing. Because they measured it. Last time it erupted was 600-something thousand years ago. Last time we had pole melt. Or, not pole melt, but pole flip. About the same fucking time. The age of the Aquarius, right? We're entering into a new age, And I've always heard people like, oh, people are reactive to energy more than anything else, and all this is a false narrative, and I'm starting to believe it a whole lot. People sure are getting squirrely in these locations where temperature's weird, climate's weird, things are doing weird shit. Man, look at all these active fucking volcanoes. Like, this is just all of them. It's like Etna went off. It's crazy. Wild, guys. Active and current. Man, that is... Whew. Woo, that's a lot. It's on fire. It's so hot. Gonna burn your little feetsies out there. And one of the visions I did have was me fucking running from a wall of fire that just consumed me. I was gone like that. Didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. I changed my whole life after having that fucking nightmare. And here is a future map of North America. Because CIA has tried to tell you guys that people have psychic abilities. Remote viewing. Different times, places, and things. Apparently they remote viewed Mars, a million years ago. Call it crazy, whatever you want. I don't care if you don't believe it. But, dude, look at this articulate map that they were able to draw from these visions. And it just so fucking happens that my property that I just got is right the fuck over there. But that's okay. It's comedic irony. It really is. That this is, of course, my property is going to be right there. Whereas San Antonio right here might be a beachfront property. And I'm like grounded here and I can't seem to fucking go anywhere. Maybe the universe is trying to keep me here to help those that survive. I don't know. But I figure if we can warn people ahead of time, and we've had this shit floating around since the 90s, I think. Yeah, 96. It's pretty wild. Pretty wild stuff. That might be Atlantis raising up out of the ocean, right? Everyone likes to think that it's like slow moving, things, but I'm sure it is for the very most part up until pressure builds and it needs to get the fuck out. We built dams, like China's built a dam that can actually affect the rotation of the Earth. It's actually making days shorter, milliseconds, but still it shouldn't be happening. If we dam things in the right way, we can actually fuck up the Earth's wobble, because the planet kind of goes like this, different times. It probably takes like a few thousand years for it to do this, but we could probably make it go a lot quicker if we wanted to. Because that's what we are. We're people. We're human beings. We got these little quantum machines that are called brains that allow us to manipulate the universe through thought. It's like, oh, hey, move that with your mind. And so, okay, I reach over and grab it because I use my mind to send a signal to my arm to move it, and we're doing something that the universe isn't capable of doing itself. Maybe we're here to help things along, Yeah, what is existence? What is life? What is any of it? But this is wild. This is absolutely wild shit. That is happening. And pole shift, if the poles flip, how's that going to affect the moon? Because, I think, maybe in a couple days we'll talk about the moon, because this is really fucking weird to me. Real weird. But, if the Earth rotates and flips in poles, and I feel like the moon is locked on us. If that magnetic thing does its thing, and you have these low volume, large low shear velocity provinces under here, that's in the core. All right, the core is supposed to be liquid magma under a lot of pressure, just kind of floating around. Nickel and iron, spins, generates electromagnetic, waves, and then we have a magnetosphere, which helps shield us from cosmic radiation. Because as we're learning with working with plasma, it takes a lot of magnets, a lot of electricity and magnets to actually, you can take plasma and hold it into space, and that's how they're doing fission, nuclear fission, trying to recreate, moments after, like just hotter than the sun. Like for, I think a reactor in France held it for about a minute or 2 minutes or something like that. And if you can generate that amount of energy, harness it. Well, we're trying to work our way up to being a Type 1 civilization. And we can talk about the Fermi paradox too, if you aren't familiar with that, because that's Fermi paradox is a great way to talk about what is beyond Earth, what exists out there. And let's get it right here, because Wikipedia is great, even though people are out there scraping it. All right. Fermi paradox is the discrepancy between the lack of conclusive evidence of advanced extraterrestrial life and the apparently high likelihood of its existence. Okay, and that right there, look what's observable out there. Right, we look around. What do we see? Ooh, we got like stars over here. Yeah, stars, galaxies. All right, billions to trillions. Billions of galaxies, hundreds of billions of galaxies. And then we have every galaxy has hundreds of billions of stars, like Carl Sagan, millions, billions, millions, billions. And the likelihood of those having like planets, planetary bodies, and then we can actually narrow it down more into livable, like Goldilocks zone, right amount of distance from a sun. The planet actually has liquid water, nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, all that stuff, for life to exist like we do, which is breathing air, eating food, taking poops, and silicate based life, right? There's lots of we're branching off on this episode. We need to keep this about the end of the world, but hey, as we progress Fermi paradox, right? So Type 1 civilizations, let's see if we can just see a quick little thing. I recommend you guys, the Drake equation, right? Gotta love it. So this is essentially what I was just talking about. The rate of formation of stars in the galaxy, the fraction of those stars with planetary systems, the number of planets per solar system with an environment suitable for organic life, the fraction of those suitable planets whereon organic life appears, the fraction of life-bearing planets where intelligent life appears, which is where we're at, and then the fraction of civilizations that reach the technological level whereby detectable signals may be dispatched. And the length of, okay, so this one's kind of hanging on people generating radio frequencies and putting them out into space. Like us, hey, here's our phone number, slap it on the back of Voyager, get the hell out of here. And that thing's been flying forever, and it still hasn't even left the Oort cloud. The Oort cloud is something that goes beyond our solar system, but it's essentially like it's the wall, and it still hasn't gotten there yet. That's about 100,000 AUs, which is an AU is the distance from Earth to the sun. I don't know. It's all a lot of shit. It's really fucking far away. And that thing's been on the road for a long time, and it ain't even got close to it. Nothing of ours has ever gotten out of the Oort cloud. But we just bring it on back. And the Great Filter is something that, it could be, I think we are always, and forever will be fighting the Great Filter. And what the Great Filter is essentially like that. World War III can take us out. We could take ourselves out. Another advanced civilization could take us out. That's dark forest theory. That's why we don't see anybody, because there's something fucking nasty out there that's killing everything that's alive. That's a possibility. There's just so much. And the South Atlantic anomaly and how it stays over a certain place, that's weird to me. Because if the inner core is liquid magma and nickel and iron and just moving around and making electricity, and that's why when we have crazy thunderstorms, I don't know if anyone's been out in the middle of the desert, but dry night, dry day, no rain, but then there's lightning and all sorts of shit happening in places you can't get. I know we got stuff going on, guys, but are we tearing the world apart with it? HARP down in Antarctica. It's just so much stuff. So much stuff going wrong out there. And this map, 96, and then after that we went 9/11, we had the housing market crisis, all that stuff. Look at that. That is wild. Does this actually say what the main reasoning is behind it? Because if it's all just, oh yeah, look, there it is right there, tell you, boy. What could possibly cause the yeah. So if the pole shifts and it goes like whoop. Now I've studied this a little bit. They say it takes thousands of years for that to occur. And during that time, we don't really have a magnetosphere. And during that time, we will be getting hit with cosmic radiation a lot. You can't be out in the sun. Like, there was that Tom Hanks movie that recently came out where he built a robot to take care of his dog. Like that. There's been a lot of movies that aren't real super popular that are talking about this kind of thing. I think my favorite one is like Don't Look Up. Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, right? Pretty wild stuff. Pretty wild stuff. He's like, my visions have revealed that this cataclysm was a shift in the Earth's magnetic pole that instantly caused great changes in weather patterns. And, sure is fucking hot. There sure was a lot of water a few weeks ago. Going hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. And now we're approaching the first week of August, and we're going to be breaking over 100 degrees. And we usually don't peak on heat till the end of August-ish. I mean, actually, that's debatable because, you know, once it starts going down, it starts going way down. No, you talk about the chronovisor, all right? They say the Catholic Church, Vatican has it, you know, the ability to see into the future. Yeah, I'm sure it has a bias. Global weather pattern, erratic behavior in the Earth's magnetic field, erratic wobble in the Earth's axis, which we're actually seeing, shifts in migrations of birds and land and sea animals, large numbers of people reporting a prophetic dream. Whoa, wait a minute. Yeah, I think we might be getting there, guys. We might be getting there. We might be getting there. And I'm just reading it off the fucking map right here. I'm sorry I didn't include you guys on this, but I'm reading this off the map itself that this guy wrote almost 20 years ago. Three separate magnetic pole shifts will occur, each comprised of a 6 to 8 degree westerly shift. As soon as each pole shift takes place, the forces of nature will react. Weather will become erratic all over the Earth. Polar regions will begin to melt, which they are rapidly melting, guys. Fuck, I never read the map. Oh, this is great. Good lord. Okay. Polar regions will begin to melt, increasing the flow of water to many tributaries. Japan and California will begin to break up. New plagues will emerge as the body's electrical system becomes imbalanced by changes in the Earth's magnetic field. New plagues, huh? Like corona? Interesting. Oh, I never read this shit. Okay, this is actually kind of lining up. Okay, new plagues will emerge. Fuck. Fuck. It's never good news. It's never like, oh yeah, you know, this is great. No, everyone gets laid. Like, god damn it. It's like everyone dies in fire. Fuck. As tectonic plates move, they create low-frequency infrasonic waves that can adversely affect the body, making us vulnerable to pronounced mood swings. Sorry. Apologies. Depression, and even something akin to possession. Actually, you know what? I think I might have seen that a couple times. As the polarity of the planet shifts, the relationship between the Earth and the Moon will change, causing the Moon to orbit closer to the Earth. This will cause a move towards a lunar society with more feminine than masculine overtones. Well, I do cry a lot. I can be with that. As a result, both men and women will experience increased intuitive capabilities. Holy shit, wait a minute, guys. What? Early warning signs. Prior to the breakup of the United States, several events will occur that should be regarded as early warning signs for major Earth changes to occur. Weather will become increasingly erratic. California will experience 3 earthquakes in the Los Angeles area, each one larger than the previous. The final one will be greater than 8.0. The first 2 have occurred. You don't get to say 3 things are going to happen if the first 2 things already did. Okay? Lost credibility right there. Predictions of these quakes were published in the Earth Changes Report. Mega and super mega quakes will also hit the areas of Bakersfield, Eureka, Sonoma County, and San Diego. Hey, Ventura's right behind that. A new volcano will be born in the Sierra Nevada near the Nevada-California border. Mount Rainier in Washington will erupt as earthquakes hit Washington, Oregon. So I think these are the things that are going to be coming out. El Nino will continue throughout this time period. But right now we're in like a La Nina, not El Nino. Okay? And I forgot the difference between the two, but usually El Nino is very wet. I can explain a little bit more about how things are going to, how the water, I'll talk to you in a minute. Let me read through this piece. Water temperatures off the west coast will rise. Okay, that's, Pacific is usually colder than people think, 50 degrees. The earthquakes and tsunamis will occur in the region of the Indian Ocean. India and Sri Lanka should be watched. Massive solar flares will occur. A super mega quake greater than 9.0 will hit Mexico City. These are very, very specific predictions. Thousands will experience flu-like symptoms. Strange low-level sounds will be heard. I've had ringing in my ear that changes frequency. And every artillery guy's like, oh, it's a tinnitus. Fucking maybe, bro. I'm just sitting here, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, okay. The economy will falter and decline. Well, we're already fucking there. Riots will occur in major U.S. cities. I mean, if this is 96, they could be predicting 2016 shit. The above appeared in Scalion's 92 edition. Okay, so this is actually 92. Since that time, several of these predictions have occurred. Okay, that's cool. All right, Hawaiian Islands. Tsunamis caused by the California fractures and the sinking of Japan sweep over the islands, resulting in great inundations, especially in areas below 150 feet in elevation. In addition, volcanic activity will cause some areas in Hawaii, Big Island, Maui, and other islands to fracture and break apart. Only 4 of the Hawaiian Islands will be habitable after the changes: Kauai, Oahu, Maui, and okay. And these will lose about 25% of their land mass. Okay. This is interesting stuff. Oh, now we're going to talk about Alaska. Alaska will see a great inlet covering approximately 20% of its interior. Now, Alaska is the biggest goddamn state in the Union. It's fucking huge. It's bigger than Texas. Texas doesn't like that. That's what leads me to think Texas is doing this. Major earthquakes will occur in the Aleutian Islands. Most of the Aleutian chain, it will be inundated. Okay, watch for the birth of a new volcano. Also, watch activity. So I think we're at the point where all this other shit's about to go, because Mount Etna went off. Alright, that was in Sicily. Alright. Is that accurate? I think Mount Etna. Yeah, that's the one that went off in Sicily earlier this year. Many people migrate from southeastern Alaska to Alberta, Canada, survival centers. New land rises from the depth of the Pacific as a result. I mean, it's obvious that the whole ring of fire is on fire right now, and something is pushing up from the bottom. Okay? And all I can genuinely say is that we are further away from the sun right now than when we are during Christmas. If I'm recalling this correct. I'm not too sure. I need a let's see. It is Earth closest to the sun. Okay, so it's closest at January. First week of January. 2 weeks after the winter solstice, December solstice, which is basically day and night equal length. Interesting. So, with that being said, you know, June, July, we are at the furthest point from the sun in our rotation around it. God damn it, guys. So common sense is saying that, you know, if we're cooking right now because the magnetosphere is failing, the closer we get to the sun, the more energy we're going to absorb, because it's like, you know, we'll just do a real simple thing here. Oops. No, let's just, nope, not like that. Nope, not like that. Just give me a solid light. There you go. So if we're like this right here, this is a flashlight, very bright. Ugh, the sun, okay, and we're furthest from it like here, but the closer we get, we are now absorbing way more intense. Dude, it's going to get worse. Motherfucker. So, okay, so if we're cooking right now, god damn it, light, turn off. If that's not good, right? I mean, come on, we're all sitting here looking at the same thing together, and we're walking through this little fucking journey together, all right? You know, the great thing about dying when it's the whole world is you're not doing it by yourself, right? And you don't want to be the only one that fucks up. And everyone's like, oh, religion, biblical, judgment. No, motherfucker. It's just, science. It's just, the planet has its cycles. All right, nip that in the bud. It's just the planet doing earthly shit. Oh, yeah. Not everyone's going to die, but a lot are. And right now, it's like early warning signs. Right now. That's fucking wild. Just got goosebumps. Just got goosebumps, guys. This is going to get wild. It's going to get much wilder. We are not fucking done with this. As a result of a shift in the core of the Earth, the plate upon which North America rests will be broken up, causing the west coast to fracture in 3 violent shifts. The first shift will create a fracture that will run from Eureka to Bakersfield and southwest from Bakersfield to the Gulf of California, Baja, creating gaps and fissures running the length of the San Joaquin and Sacramento valleys. Now, this is all kind of around my hometown, Ventura. This is interesting. Fire leaps into the atmosphere as underground gases are ignited by fallen electric lines. Okay. Okay. The flames, blue-red in color, will be seen for hundreds of miles as they reach heights of 100 feet and more. Much of the coastal area of California floods, and some islands are formed as a result. Okay. The second fracture. The second fracture occurs following a magnitude 10 or greater earthquake. Magnitude 10 is 10 times, right? Is it 10 times stronger than a magnitude 9? Which is pretty much what we had in Russia. So that's how magnitudes work. You know, I'm born and raised in California. They teach all about fucking earthquakes. The big one's gonna come. Never came. Until now. Okay. The land to the west of the fracture rotates longitudinally along its north-south axis, tilting upwards along the fracture line, which causes the land west of the fracture to break away and begin to sink into the sea. Now, as the Pacific Ocean inundates the land, it will move closer to the fracture line until the whole segment slides into the sea. Okay, infrasound waves will move across North America, creating oscillations in the sediment layers beneath the Sierra Nevada mountains and the Rocky Mountains, causing them to drop in altitude in some places. I'm going to have a beachfront property. No, I'm not. It's just going to be underwater. God, why? Why can't I have fucking my 10 acres? Right? As soon as I get there, I guarantee it. As soon as I go there to plant the flag of Ken in my 10 acres, this shit's going to happen. Promise. Absolute promise on that. The third fracture, the Phoenix Seaport. Man, it's a dry heat. It's going to get wet, guys. The third fracture occurs after a series of magnitude 12 or greater earthquakes hit the western United States. Damn, motherfucker. 12. Magnitude 12. Man, you will take the best shit of your life after that, during that, you know? The new West Coast will form a line from southwest Nebraska to the northeast Arizona. Could you imagine a bunch of people in flat ass Nebraska having like a fucking beach town? Dude, they're not going to know what to do with themselves. They're going to have to legalize weed up there finally. Something about being near the ocean. It's just very, very good. The Isles of California. Oh, I love it. After the fractures, California will become known as the Isles of California. 150 in all. The Bay Area will become a large island. Okay. Okay. The SoCal, a few of these new islands will be Santa Ana Island, Pasadena Island, the San Gabriel Islands, and the San Bernardino Islands. San Bernardino Mountains, LA County is amazing. You can go surf, and you can drive a few hours, and then you're skiing in the mountains. It's fucking cool. A portion of Santa Barbara will be a small island, as will a portion of San Diego. Well, I guess Ventura is just adios. All right. Portions of the Baja Peninsula up to San Diego will become islands. Interesting. West Coast migrations. One of the visions I had this year was me in California, and there's acid rain. And I looked down and I could see my skin kind of peeling off my chest, like almost like a sunburn, but it wasn't. It was weird. I didn't like it because I felt it and it didn't feel good, being fucking a little and then I have to like save people. I didn't like that dream. But we got shelter, umbrellas got eaten up, acid rain, Walter White, Breaking Bad taught us that you need a specific kind of plastic. After California has experienced its first fracture, creating some initial islands, millions of people begin to move to survival camps established by the U.S. government in eastern California near the Nevada-Arizona border. As the land continues to shift, more migrations occur into Nevada, New Mexico, Arizona, and Colorado. Yeah, but you do not say. Okay, so we got first fracture. Goodbye, Ventura. Second fracture. Adios, Nevada. And how about the third fracture? It does not seem to say anything about the third fracture. Okay. Mexico. Coastal areas of Mexico will be inundated for miles. The California Baja will become a series of islands. Most of the Yucatan Peninsula will be lost to the sea. Volcanic and seismic activity will continue into the 21st century. Well, we are there. This is a fantastic fucking map. I wonder what happened to the guy who wrote this map. We will look it up after this and discover he died an untimely death. That's my prediction. All the immigrants they brought up here probably digging tunnels, for this shit, and they put them down, buried them in there. That's another fucking dark fucking guess, but you know what? The world ain't all rainbows and butterflies is returning out, especially when you have people running the show that diddle kids. It's not cool. Great Lakes migrations. As the Great Lakes expand because of a melt-off in the Arctic, people begin to migrate. Survival camps are established primarily in Iowa, Illinois, Ohio, and Kentucky. We're already experiencing an exceptional melt-off on the poles, And like I said, this is all a future prediction type thing, okay? But it's kind of wild how a lot of this stuff is already kind of a fucking carrying. Specifically like Mount Etna eruption, which is in Sicily, And did Kilauea go off? Did it? Let's see. I think it's always going off, right? Let's see. We're going to look at USGS, Let's see what we got here. Don't mind breaking stride for half a second just to see here. Alert level watch, color code orange. And we all remember from 9/11, there's terrorists in that volcano. Okay, so activity summary. The ongoing eruption is currently paused. Episode 29 I saw a week ago. So this is also going off. Fantastic, greatness, fucking cool, amazing. Gotta love it. fucking goddamn fucking shit, man. You know, I figured it. You know, as soon as I start talking about things, they start occurring. You know, it's how you will things into reality. I don't want to will this. You know, I had a fucking vision. I didn't have a choice. It was impressed upon me. Man, I'm tempted. Like, okay, so if all this is happening and media is silent, we're still talking about fucking Trump. The guy's 80 fucking something years old. He can barely stay awake in a fucking news conference. All eyes are on that shit, but not this. This is the real shit. This is that real shit they don't want to warn you about. Because, you know, obviously, like, well, I have to go work, pay my bills, and got my got mortgage, got payments, got cell phone, got all this stuff, you know. And you gotta go work, you know. I'm just good, I'm hard-working, tax-paying American. Nature don't give a fuck. Money's made up. They print the currency, and they say there's not enough. Except when the banks are about to go under, all of a sudden they get bailed out, and they never get held accountable for writing bad loans to people that they can't afford. They learned from 2008. Now, it's like a well-oiled engine, you know, with all the different cylinders firing off. And every time a cylinder fires, that's a dude getting laid off and losing his house. I'm a cylinder. Okay. New land in the Arctic, or the Atlantic. That'd be fucking cool. Fantastic. How's the East Coast gonna look? Hasta la vista, Washington. Yeah, that's gone. Cool. And New York, toast. Cool. New Hampshire, gone. Nantucket Island. All right, later uncles that I've only met once. Step uncles, you know, which I think that died. Yeah. Lots of weird history people things. But damn, that's kind of fucking suck. New York City's going by. That's Long Island. So Long Island. Yeah. North Carolina gets more coastline, less land. South Carolina, Georgia. It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. Louisiana, well, you guys have been fighting this one for a long time. I mean, Katrina, guys, I'm sorry, but I remember doing security at Tulane University, looking at my phone, it says like, oh yeah, you're 4 feet under. Whoa. Okay. Going to the Walmart down there, and there's like a fucking oil tanker coming by, or I think it was a cargo ship. But when you're standing in the parking lot of a Walmart and you see a levee right between you, and then you're looking up at the ship cruising by, you're like, wow, man, that's a thin veil holding all the bullshit back. But it looks like that's gonna be a huge goddamn river, you know. I don't even think you'd be able to see across from that shit. Maybe over here, Missouri. Ironically, my dad also, in his, you know, later before he died, he bought land out there, and it all flooded, went away. It's like, God hates you. Hates me too, man. He's got a mark out for us. Whatever that thing is. Maybe it's Lucifer. Yeah, I don't know, man. Hail Satan. That is wild. This map is fantastic. Okay, what happens up here? What do we got? Great Lake migrations. Okay, ice runoff. We already know the ice is melting like crazy. All right, and the oldest ice cores that we have, they are 1.2 million. That's as far as it goes. 1.2 million years. So that's essentially, you know, they say like 700,000 years ago is when last time this shit went off. So if we have bling plong, bling plong, all right. If it flips, is it gonna go like or is it going to go sideways, you know, to like a 90 degree, and then all of a sudden the planet kind of corrects? It's weird trying to visualize this in my head. I can see it going kind of any which way it wants. It's like a top. You know, it's just spinning. It's weird. But if, you know, this might be the best fucking source of information for us to go off of. You know, if we're going to prepare for anything. You know, Yellowstone happens over here, right? Did they mention Yellowstone blowing its top? Okay, I want to read all this stuff about this dude, because we're going to look him up after I'm done reading this, and we're going to find out exactly what happened to old boy. If I had to guess, he probably shot himself in the back of the head, suicide style, you know? Okay, weather patterns cause great damage along the eastern seaboard, increasing each year in magnitude and damage claims. Shortly after the breaking up of California, the east coast of the United States begins its changes. Most of Manhattan is to be inundated. That guy likes to use that word, inundated. Homie, I've been inundated. I am inundated. I've been made redundant as well. Okay. Everyone's looking forward to this. Most of Manhattan is to be inundated and broken up from the quakes, including Wall Street. Fucking get them. Money is bullshit. It hurts. It kills a lot of people. Makes a lot of people suffer. We don't need none of that. Eventually, a new financial system will be created in Nebraska. Corn, guys. Corn will be the new currency. We will be trading corn. I can work with that. Yo soy me gusta. No. Yo gusto. God damn it. What's the word? Elotes. Yeah, there you go. Elotes. Fucking brain fart. The entire East Coast from Maine to the Florida Keys becomes inundated numerous times because of tsunamis originating in Europe and the North Atlantic. I mean, if you're going to say this whole fucking thing is going to show up right here, then yeah, you know, I can get behind that. Obviously, that's going to be some kind of volcano, and you know, it's going to keep spewing ejecta from the Earth's core up to the surface, and when it rapidly cools, then you get it's giving birth to a new mountain, new land, which I'm sure some greedy fuck is going to find a way to tax, because people die by the millions, and we need to worry about taxation. Look at my big old nose. Yeah, it's a suspicious big old nose. The entire East Coast from Maine to Florida Keys. I can't wait. It's going to suck. I mean, shit, what do we do now, huh? I mean, it looks pretty obvious to me. Fucking, let's build redundant housing, right? China, you know, has these ghost towns, ghost cities built for millions of people. There's only a few thousand that live there. You know, maybe they're helping us out, and we don't want to be too honest. You know, we got too much pride here in America. We're too proud to say, hey, we're fucked up. We need some guidance. We need some help. You know, we've only been around for 250 years. China's been around for 5,000, bro. Like, we don't even know what the hell we're doing. Can't even fucking, what, Corona happened and people snatched up all the toilet paper. Because America. Alright, as changes accelerate, people on the east coast of the United States will begin to migrate inland. As with the west coast, the numbers are smaller first. As water levels rise globally because of the sinking and rising of land masses and the melting of the poles, the migrations expand to millions. Survival camps are established predominantly in southern Vermont. Beautiful area. Wouldn't mind getting stuck over there as a migrant. Survival camps are established predominantly blah blah blah. East central New York State, western New Hampshire, western Massachusetts, central Virginia, central North Carolina, and north central Florida. Ironically, those are all places that I have been in the past year almost, except for New York State. Actually, no, the past 10 years, I think I've touched all of those. I didn't go into New York, but I flew up into New Hampshire for a couple days, helped set up a new business. Central America will be inundated and reduced to a series of islands. Elevations above 500 feet will be considered safe. Okay. The Panama Canal will become impassable. Seen that coming. Alright, what else we got here? Is that pretty much all the predictions on the map? Canada. Alright, the islands of Vancouver, Queen, Charlotte, and others will be inundated. Most of British Columbia's coastline will be pushed in as much as 200 miles. That's fucking wild. Although the vast majority of Canada's population lives within a few hundred miles of the U.S. border. Things up top there, it's like a bunch of archipelagos, a bunch of little islands and stuff, as it is right now. I don't see Greenland anymore. It seems like that one went the way of the dodo bird. The entire length of the Rocky Mountains and west should be considered at risk, not necessarily from water, but from infrasound strong enough to cause land damage and take lives. So it's essentially like, when you have a opera singer with a glass, a little wine glass or champagne glass, ooh, then it showers. Imagine that, but like on a planetary scale, apparently. That's what this is trying to convey. Flooding in the Northwest Territory, Hudson Bay area, and north will result in the formation of a series of islands in the higher elevations. Alberta will become the survival center of Canada during the early changes. Migrations will arrive from British Columbia and Alaska. See, like in this scenario, everyone's going to have to fucking get real cool with each other, Everyone's going to have to get along. We have to. It's this divisive left-right bullshit's fucking dumb. Fucking dumb. Alberta will become the survival center of Canada during the early changes, migration, yada yada. Coastal areas in eastern Canada will be inundated. Yeah, I swear, take a shot every time. Anywhere from 50 to 100 miles, areas around the Great Lakes, St. Lawrence River, and the Gulf of St. Lawrence should be considered unsafe because of flooding from the Lawrence River. I mean, this seems like a great time that we should, maybe our naval shipyard should be building some bigger boats. Maybe if we converted every ship that we have in the U.S. Navy into a survival boat, this is like one of the thoughts I have all the time. If we take the amount of energy that we put into destroying people, into ending lives, if we take that same amount of energy, like if we took all the GDP that went to the U.S. military for doing what it does, and flipped it, we just do the other thing. Like, we make sure everywhere has running water, shelter, food. Man. And because it's true, guys. There's no money in the cure. Alright? There's money in treating the symptoms. But they will never address the root cause of pain. Because we are creatures that seek that thing. We naturally seek community. Want to belong. Just to make sure we have shitty lives up until 10 years old. Get indoctrinated into the school, work that for fucking 18, 20 years. Before you know it, it's over. Before you even, oh, wait a minute, why am I still going to work? I'm 85 years old. That's all they want. It's fucking dumb. That's interesting. All right, let's find this guy. Okay, so he's a futurist. Maybe if his parents loved him, he'd be envisioning a better future. But no, I mean, this is just science at this point. We've done the math. Okay, we know when Yellowstone popped last, and we can tell all these other things kind of occurring in together like that. And when does Jesus Christ show up to help us? Well, I'm taking a stab at it, guys. I'm here trying to have an honest conversation, talking about peace, letting go of the way things were so we can adopt a new, better way of being, so we can be united, be with each other, live happily ever after. I know, at least get in, if there's aliens out there, they would see us and, God damn, what's wrong with these people? And then I look a little closer, live a human life. You'll know. It's the greedy fucks at the top. Always has been. They somehow got poor people thinking that, they're each other's enemies. Well, yeah. Because they look different, think different, talk different, smell different. Now, smell is one of those things. Homeless people have a terrible stink about them. So did the interpreters we had in Afghanistan. All right. It's not racist. It's just smells be smells. It's just is only smells. Okay, let's see what this guy is. Okay. Oh. The geographical information presented in this future map of North America is essentially taken from visions I began experiencing in 1979. This guy was probably a customer of the MK Ultra program, where they dose people with LSD, DMT, and psilocybin and didn't tell them. Imagine just like, you drink some water and it had like 50 hits of acid in it. No one told you, and you're just at home by yourself, and then you have these little fuckers just taking notes and watching it the whole time. Lord knows I've been there. In 1982, I began a sketch what the world would look like based on these visions. And in that year, I released my first map of the future. Okay, this new map update's previously published. Okay. Illustrates the way I see North America by 2012. Okay, so this is supposed to happen in 2012. And the fact that it hasn't doesn't necessarily mean that guy is wrong. It may mean that we have some help. You know? Anti-gravitics, the ability to translate energy, like translate, just, without diminishing returns, like, I don't know. If we can do geothermal power generation, that right there, like if we found a way to convert that heat into energy, what if we could push it somewhere else? What if we can pull energy? If it takes heat, it would take cold to absorb it. What if we could generate cold? Some of these weather patterns are kind of weird. I was in Orlando last year. That hurricane was coming right forward, and then it's like, shit, Ken's coming. Go the other direction. I'm safe from the flooding that happened too. I don't know. Weird shit always seems to follow my ass. Yeah. It's not my diet either. I wipe. So, alright, so this is Gordon Michael Scallion. Oh, I call Diva a rapscallion all the time. I love it how, when I'm not streaming, when I'm not on camera, these bitches are just crazy all the time. But now, peaceful little angels sleeping. They just love hearing my voice talking. And they're all just so cute and peaceful. God, these dogs, they're precious little critters. Alright, well, taking all bets right now. What do you think happened to Gordon? I've never seen a hyphenated first name, bro. That's weird. But whatever. Gordon Michael Scallion. You rapscallion, sir. Dude still kicking? No way. No way. This fool doesn't have a wiki. Yeah, what? He ain't dead? Was, man, they don't know. It's just question marks. He might be alive. He might not be. Interesting. That's really weird. He might not be alive anymore. He's got books on Amazon. So do I. Got one. 3 people bought it. I was 2 of them. It's like I half-assed that. I'm not gonna lie. I could have done better. But, I was recovering from a fucking accident. That shit sucked. Okay, not dead. Very well. Very well, sir. It's wild. We can just take a look at that whole thing, though. So we're going to have a landmass showing up there, landmass showing up there. It looks like, yep, then the Bering Strait, land bridge reappears. And then Russia will invade. Yeah, that's bullshit. Yeah, those Russians, everyone's got good and bad, okay? Trump diddle kids. He's our president. All right, we can't stop judging. And Russians had to do what they had to do. They've gone through a lot of fucked up shit, a lot of famines, a lot of fucking bad things happened to those folks, and they survive. Everybody's gonna do what they gotta do to survive. And I think once you hit a point in intelligence, it no longer is about survival. We need to be about thrival. Like, we're the apex, guys. We got monkey brain advanced. Whether or not we arrived here naturally or if it was God-given. Well, let's define God. Advanced intelligence. Could be non-human, artificial. What is real intelligence? Things are so fucking old. But somehow in 80 years, we got lasers and, we're advancing beyond our means. Okay, there's obviously some guidance involved, and we'll talk about that one tomorrow. All right, we'll do UFOs tomorrow. But yeah, take a gander. You know, Yellowstone's over yonder. So if that pops, then everything gets weird. But this map doesn't talk about Yellowstone erupting at all. That's really weird. Because we know that caldera is there. And I just got a sneaky fucking feeling right now. Okay, we got... It's like they didn't bother putting Russia in there. How Iceland's cooking off. Ring of fire. Burn, burn, burn. It's a burning ring of fire. Oh, there's Sandwich Islands. Sounds delicious. I mean, dude, it really does look like it, right? All that happening, and the only place it doesn't seem to be occurring yet is literally here. Oh, what was that? I'm sorry, what? I saw that. I saw that. What was there a little dot for over here? Oh, there's one over there. And there's been like 3 little earthquakes here in Texas. All right, they've been small. Okay, they're like 2, 3 magnitude. Not real crazy. Yeah, a little rumble tumble. Could be caused by fracking. But if all that pressure is building up under that plate. All right, so let's... Do I have a plate here? Okay, here we go. We got a plate. We actually got a plate because I'm a little bit of a slob sometimes. So if we have this pressure, right? You can see this plate is like that. Okay, this is, let's say this is the Pacific Ocean. And if it's going like that, that means it's putting weight here. Okay? And here, where my finger is, that should be the West Coast. Okay? So, one of 2 things. It's going up. It's pushing all around. That's putting weight here. Right? And that's the Sierra Nevadas. You know? Can I go to Google Earth? Google.com. Oh, so beautiful. Look at that. Everything that we've ever known. Every person that we've ever known. Every story ever told. Every murder. Every bad thing. Every good thing. Everything. For us. As a species. Right there. That's it. That's it. That is amazing. Guys, I don't know about you, but when I had my out-of-body experience, when I met the Metatron, alright, it pulled me away from this place. It pulled me, honestly, it felt like it was within this galaxy, because I think it wasn't within this galaxy. Because going between galaxies is mind-boggling. Okay, so the Milky Way is about 100,000+ light years across. A light year, right? So that's the amount of distance that light can travel in 1 Earth year. Pretty goddamn far. Pretty goddamn far. Okay, so, all right. So all boom boom. Is this real time with the weather? Get out of here, because that'd be cool. But you know what's funny? It's like our satellites. Like if we're looking at this whole thing, satellites are right there. Like I don't know where people think satellites, how far they're like up this high. No. We're like, and like satellites are just like a nickel. like the thickness of a nickel. That's how satellites are around the Earth. Those are low Earth orbit. You know, it's pretty wild. We have not really gone fucking anywhere yet. Not at all. Ooh, I'm excited to talk to you guys about the moon later on this week. But this, yeah, let's look here, guys. Ooh, oh yeah, so this, I already know exactly where my shit is. It's right yeah. This is my 10 acres right yeah. Right about here. Yeah, it ain't pretty, but you know what? It's my goddamn 10 acres. Okay, so I got, alright, clouds or no clouds? I do not know. So all that activity over Hrushka over here, all around here. So, I mean, you can see if there's that kind of activity, it drops off down there. It's pushing up, my guys. This whole fucking thing. As far as, whoa, oh my god. Man, that's sensitive. You know, it didn't really discuss pole shift. Because it has been tracked. It is definitely moving. It has not stopped. And, oh, did they delete it? Oh, what? There was like a, oh, here we go. Let's see if it'll let me pop this in here. Boing. Okay, so we started measuring it at 1620. And this is accurate, guys. This is it's literally the magnetic North Pole. It's something you can easily, with the compass, you know. I mean, not so much. You know, true north, magnetic north. If you're near, like if you're on top of a really dense chunk of rock, metal, or something like that, it can fuck with your compass. So, but I mean, that's interesting, right? You can see how we've been tracking it. And how essentially post 9/11, it's been booking it. And it's going like really far every year. Kind of sat for nowhere for a little bit of time. And I want to say this, guys. We're going to talk about UFOs. All right, we're going to talk about Nuremberg event, 1561. Seems like about the time they got here, things started getting... Something's probably doing it. Probably the Greys, if I had to be honest. They're lied to us. They're scared of us. We're bigger than them. But I'm sure there's something bigger than us. You know, there's always bigger fish. But back to the topic at hand. You know, what's going to come next? Well, I don't know, guys. If all of everything over here is on fire and something is pushing up on the bottom, and then we have the subduction zone over here. And you can see literally the Sierra Nevada is kind of over there. And then they have the sea shelf drop off down there. It's pushing. And I think it's going to go. You have pressure building. All right. But then they also talk about how, you know, if you look at all those Sierra Nevadas. All right. So very beautiful range. But then you have the northern part of the Sierras up here, which ironically is where my fucking property is. They say that there's something eating underneath over there. I'm not sure. Like, you know, dig for water. You know, you can dig a well, there's water. And then you have tides. And then you have the moon going around, the earth spinning at the same time. Yeah, somehow the moon's always facing us, which is weird. But yeah, maybe it could come from underground. I don't know, guys. I mean, this is such a vast, vast area that I'm not even sure if anyone is able to, like, I don't think we have enough manpower to keep eyes on this shit. You know? I really don't think we have enough manpower to keep eyes on it. I think we got too many fucking made up problems with immigration people that have been here for generations and pay their taxes and do everything the right way, don't get in trouble, right? Oh my lord. They would. It's like the same vibrations from World War II with the Nazis that I'm getting, you know? Just plain stupid fucking hate. I don't get the feeling that people are being taken care of from the institutions that they built, and it's being intentional like this, because all that could pop, guys. Yeah, I've broken it down. Let's break down into what actually happens when Yellowstone pops. You know, all this came from a conversation about just basically comparing Tonga to Yellowstone, right? So caldera diameter 72 kilometers. All right, it's fucking wild. That's huge. And yeah, so Yellowstone super eruption, like if it actually popped and it was a VEI8, that's pretty wild. If it was a worst case scenario, because we gotta plan worst case. Okay, you plan for the worst, hope for the best. Okay, you're never fucked over. Ground zero. Okay, 100 kilometers away, 60 miles, fatal zone, complete annihilation. Okay, pyroclastic flows would race across the landscape at 300 to 700 kilometers an hour, or about 100, almost 200, 400 miles an hour. It'll be 1,000 degrees centigrade, guys. You'd be cooked. Okay, it'd be like Pompeii, but a lot more. And we'll get into the estimations of how many will die. Instant death from the blast wave and thermal radiation. So the ash is going to be about 3 meters deep. Okay. And it's like, you guys just quit using metric. Okay. Fucking everyone else does. America has to be a fucking obtuse motherfucker all the time. But 10 feet. Is that good? 10 feet. You know, everyone's feet are fucking different. Okay. And the area that will be fucked up, most of northwestern Wyoming and Montana and Idaho. You know, extending into parts of that. Beyond that 100 kilometers, okay, pyroclastic surge, reaching parts of Bozeman, Montana, Salt Lake City, Utah, which is, you know, right on the other side of my house, right over here. Oh, jeez, Rick. Yeah. In these areas, you know, about up to 300 miles away, buildings are going to get fucking leveled. Just from the shockwave, okay? And you're like, what you talking about, shockwave? I'm talking about like this shit. But it would be this times 10. Times 10. If we're going by this, just scaling up. They estimate that was 6 kilometers for the caldera. All right, 11 times that. 72 kilometers is what they estimate the caldera to be for Yellowstone. It's pretty wild. Pretty wild. Fuck. Ash fall is going to be 1 to 3 feet. Roofs are going to collapse because ash is, it's you're like, ooh, ash. It's not snow. Mm-mm. That's rocks. That's rocks and dirt. Okay. We make gold underneath. Quartz, pressure. That's where gold comes from. It's gonna shoot that out. All right. It's gonna land. It's gonna hit. It's gonna be heavy. Oh, also, geomagnetic disturbances, right? So it's like basically rubbing ginormous magnets to each other, putting pressure in it. Boom, it's going to release electromagnetic radiation. So you're going to be able to expect zero juice. Okay, zero juice. Okay, now we're getting into the crux of this. Hour and a half in. Now we're going to start talking about the dangerous shit. Okay, because survive it all, okay, you still got to deal with what happens after, which is going to be the ash. All right, all the water can turn to acid. All right, it's going to fuck up the pH on a lot of water sources. We'll get into it. We'll get into it. Ash-induced arc faults too, right? Because it is essentially metal. All right, so when it lands on power lines, it'll. I don't know if you guys have ever seen a volcano explode, but there's always thunder and lightning that's happening there. It's not the rain. It's not weather. It's nothing like that. It's just how it works. Static electricity buildup. Okay, secondary impact zone. This is past the 300-mile range. After that, you're looking at cities at risk. Is going to be Denver, Minneapolis, Omaha, Kansas City. All right, about a foot of ash. Jet engines, electronics, solar panels, none of it's going to work. Water is going to be contaminated. You're not going to be able to breathe that shit without a respirator. This is 300, 900 miles away. So, go back to the world map. Beep, 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 beep. All right. Do, 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 do. Damn, Denver, right? Remember Bozeman. Fucking gone, dog. They ain't coming back. That's wild. Omaha. All the way out to that. Because you got to understand, the way the wind blows, it's going to be going from northwest to southeast. It's kind of the way the wind usually blows, but apparently the jet stream's fucked up now. So who the fuck knows how it's going to go? But usually, for going off of older patterns, it's going to be like that. Yeah, obviously you're not flying anywhere. all air travel is going to be fucking economic collapse. I mean, what the fuck is the economy, guys? We got nothing but billionaires making huge multi-million-dollar deals. That's not an economy. These are rich people playing games with each other. A real economy is, can you fuckers feed each other? Are you guys able to feed yourselves, house yourselves? You know, that's an economy. And that's just going to break down as soon as the crops are done, right? So obviously right now we should be, you know, which we very well might be, you know, like I said, this is all probably something they're already planning on. And all of our mass surveillance is just something to figure out a naughty and nice list to get in, all right? But I've got to save food stores, you know, non-perishables, you know, find canning, jarring stuff, you know, basically every survival off-grid person knows what the hell I'm talking about with that. You know, grow your own veggies and fruits and preserve it, you know, do your own jamming. Hey, do you know what the difference is between jelly and jam? I can't jelly my dick up your ass. And it's just, yeah. And territory zones, so it's going to be like the continental U.S., Canada, and Mexico. Yeah. Pretty much everyone's going to be covered in ash. Few inches. Toxic sulfur dioxide gas plumes. Alright, cause acid rain. The vision I had was that. It very much was that. Very much. That was a weird dream. Because, like, when I have these things, it's not like I'm not in control. I'm literally present in whatever space that is. And if dreams are kind of what I think they are, it's like I'm disconnecting from my physical body and I'm viewing another timeline of it. Of me. Of this vessel. And maybe, you know, if this happened in 2012 on a different timeline, I'm seeing, maybe I'm living my version of that timeline. You know, post all of this shit, because we're going to go into it more. This is just immediately what happens. Okay, like within the first week or so, right? Oh, and also the sunlight. So we got to actually learn how to grow indoors, you know. And it's just why I say, you know, eat the rich. You know, take those buildings back and convert it into food crops, all right? All these 100-floor buildings with windows, you know, solar the shit out of it. All right, grow indoors, hydroponics, you know. It's all these buildings with surface areas that can collect rainwater, right? We could build filters and stuff. It's just, it's so easy and simple to do. We'd have it done in like within a year, guys, if we just got rid of all these fucking greedy motherfuckers, man. Like, you think they're not gonna, I don't care how many fucking rockets Elon builds, all right? You don't let the shitheads go. You don't let them, we got nuclear weapons. What do we do with it? We killed each other with it. How do we measure how we occur outside of this planet to other things that exist out there? Dark forest theory? Man, they're hiding from us, dude. We're fucking terrible. Anyways, global impacts, okay? Volcanic winter. The temp drops 2 to 5 degrees centigrade. 3 to 10 degrees Fahrenheit. Years-long agricultural collapse. The growing seasons shrink and fucking vanish almost entirely, which is why it's important. We have LED lights. We can grow tents, PVC pipes. Drill some holes. You got some plastic tubs, a little water pump, some magnets, and a filter. Boom, 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 boom. In fact, you can actually tie in fish like tilapia. Their poop is great nutrients. These are all things that we've known for a long time, right? The Pilgrims coming out with the Indians, showing them how to grow crops using fish guts and stuff. But it's all, we understand the cycle of life very well. And then another shitty part, probably the worst part, is the ocean becoming acidified. And then we lose algae. And algae, as it turns out, is the number one reason why we have oxygen to breathe. Okay, everyone's like, oh, the Amazon rainforest. No. That's all. A tree keeps that shit kind of local, all right? What we have is algae out in the water, and they produce this oxygen, and that's what we get. And they've already started speaking to how algae has started to die off a lot. Things are a lot further along than we want to believe. Yeah, and I guarantee you, once things click, all the cowards are going to click out of here. I got that out of my system after my dad died. For the most part. Because you do it a couple times, you can't do it. It's just you're not allowed to go anywhere. You got to stick it out, buddy. So that's what I'm here to do. Stick it out and have these conversations and hopefully, help people in the process. Save lives. Numbers and estimates. All right. Pyroclastic flow up to 100 kilometers. All right. 60 miles. Total destruction. Incineration. Okay. Blast overpressure. About 50 to 100 kilometers. And that's essentially like, I don't know if you guys have ever blown something up, but there's a shockwave. And what that shockwave is basically pressure pushing lower pressure away from it. And the blast from this thing would be, you want to talk about overpressure? Like that. It's like you're here, now you are not. Here, not. Like that. Gone. Ashfall, up to 1,600 kilometers. It's going to be across pretty much all the U.S. And the sulfur aerosols, all right, that's when you get the global cooling, all right? So when these massive volcanoes pop off, everything comes up, and it kind of separates, The heavier elements will sink, all right? The lighter elements are going to go up there, okay? And that sulfur aerosols, okay, just going to go up there and reflect sunlight. It's going to fuck it all up. The death toll, immediately, about 1 million. I think it's going to be more. We're going to talk about it. What would survive? Subsurface bunkers with air filtration. Ships in deep ocean, away from fallout zones. Closed loop hydroponic, aquaponic farms. All right, so like I said, convert these buildings into something more useful. Self-sustaining communities with power, water, and food reserves. Okay, right. All kind of goes into it. Oh, yeah. Also, for all the infrastructure in the world needs to be under a fucking Faraday cage. What a Faraday cage is basically like a wire mesh around something, okay? And what that metal does is it absorbs all that signal radiation that pours in, protects the things that are in there. Also prevents the signal from inside the box coming out. That's why, You can stick your phone and something like that and not have signal. It's pretty wild. Pretty wild. All right. I went through a little bit for some solutions on how to actually, prepare things. Prepare. But, guys, we're having the conversation now. We already know it needs to happen. We need to have food, water, shelter, guys. That's my platform. Food, water, shelter. Okay? Dumping everything into AI. Did that work? Is it working? Is it, though? I mean, it seems to have just made a whole bunch of jobs redundant. It doesn't seem... I mean, it makes individual... What's a good life, man? Is it the one where you live happily? Just... Now we have credit scores. You can equate your existence to a number now. It's not even monetary. It's fucking disgusting. So, cleaning the air in a massive kind of way, dude. There's just no real good way to do it. The ash is going to settle. And when it does, we're going to have bountiful crops because it's a bunch of nutrients getting dropped on that. We're going to have to get real creative and build really big things to clean up this kind of mess. If Yellowstone pops. If we know ahead of time that this shit's behaving weird, we should do just precautionary evacuations. Yeah, it's costly. It costs a bunch of money, dude. You're hiring tens of thousands of people to do ice shit, and they're making $150,000 a year. No college degree, no experience, really. Just how much do you hate brown people? How much do you hate poor people? Are we cleaning out and getting rid of all those shitheads that we brought up here during Operation Lone Star? I mean, you tell me. I don't know. I think we might be. I think blowing the lid on that. Wait a minute, guys. We got gaping holes all over the place. People are in danger. CIA's like, oh, we got 1,000 trained fucking Al-Qaeda, whatever motherfuckers are here ready to do destructive things. And all I've seen so far is just fucking mass shootings. I mean, Uvalde happened. Maybe that was one of them. MK Ultra just drove that guy insane or something. Seems to be a fucking recurring pattern here in the United States. I got ideas. We could build solutions to save and help people. All right, like trailers. There's nothing but solutions on how to fix this. But you don't want to be waiting until this event occurs to actually do something about it. It's the folly of man. Assuming everything's going to be all right and not listening to what's occurring around you. Just, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Zuckerberg is building a huge fucking bunker in Hawaii. He knows what I'm talking about. All these motherfuckers know what the hell I'm talking about. We're going to be left out. Most people. Unless we go fucking... Because, no matter what, I believe a society should be prepared for all of this on any day of the week. It's like the Marine Corps. It's like we train like we fight. Okay, but if you know of a threat, prepare for it. Don't wait for it to occur. Don't wait for it to pretend like it's about to occur. Right? It's like a zero trust society. Post 9/11. Now you got to get like a rectal check to get on an airplane. All right. So here's one. And it's just like, if we knew in advance it was going to explode, how would we save as many people as possible? So T-minus 30 to 90 days. Now I'm just going to say, I've had August 17th on my head. I don't know what's going to happen that day, but I'm going to look forward something to occur on August 17th. Not sure. I'm not getting good or bad or anything from it. It's just that date. T minus 30 to 90 days, a month to 3 months out. A lot of things we could do proactively. You can treat Yellowstone as an extinction level threat. All right, man. If we had all our ducks in a row, this would be possible. But I think this timeline is just so fucking astrayed. I don't know, guys. We can harden the infrastructure. We can actually make all sorts of things. Oof. T minus 30 to 10 days. Mandatory evacuations. We can reinforce the areas around that we know are going to be hit, you know, because we already know where everyone's going to die, right? We already know where everyone's going to fucking croak. But if we use the Army Corps of Engineers, you know, we get Marines out there, you know. I've seen what it looks like when the machine wants to move in a direction, and it's beautiful. It's like a symphony. You know, we could build this. We can avoid all the death that's going to be coming. You know, because I'm here talking about it. I'm here thinking about it. If I can articulate this, then it can be done. Everyone's all, I don't even know what the fuck's going through people's heads these days. And I know it's the obligation. It's that 9 to 5. It's that my life is attached to the monetary value of it. You know? Where's the spirit of life? Post-eruption survival, 0 to 5 years. Global drop in temp for 5 to 10 years. All right. Grow food, underground hydroponics, algae bioreactors, right? So if we got algae, we can make... And we got to think big, guys. We got to think, like, if we could build the fucking stadium, all right, we could build that same shit underground. Solidify that shit. Harden it. Reinforce it. Make it livable, you know? I've done these thought experiments with... Chat GPT here, you know, on how to, like, what do we need to do to save the human race? You know, how many people would genuinely ensure the survival of the human race? We could build these massive underground cities that can house 15,000 people. 100, you know, like, it doesn't take up that much space, and we don't have to build so many of those, right? We could build, like, and they're talking about completely, like, we just have these structures laying around. All right, we built them. People can live in them if they want, you know, but it'll be like a fallout shelter for everyone. And if something comes to the earth that would just scorch the whole fucking thing, just pull the string, and it seals people in there. And the whole thing is just geothermally powered. You could do solar, you could do wind, you could do hydro power, you can do all sorts of shit and self-contained. Everyone can have their own piece, you know, plenty of room for everyone. You know, it's like we can live a much more free life. You know, it's just every individual person has to fucking get cool with a lot of shit real quick. Gotta let go of the way things were and embrace the new way. Fuck the supposed to's, you know? Like arcs, huge arcs. Yeah, making vehicles acid rain resistant. That's a good one, you know? All sorts of shit. Okay, now the most likely event. If these events occurred with zero warning, what would be the best plan to save lives and survive? 15 minutes to 24 hours. Take shelter immediately. Get indoors or underground ASAP. Ashfall can begin within hours. Seal all the vents, doors, and windows with duct tape, plastic sheeting, wet towels. Turn off your HVAC, fireplaces, air intakes. Treat it like nuclear fallout. Get inside, stay informed. You know, communications triage, right? Everyone should have a radio. You can buy a Baofeng real fucking cheap off Amazon. I really recommend everyone does that. They're pretty awesome. And yeah, everything's going to be broken. All right. GPS isn't going to work either. Internet outages, obviously. Cell towers are going to be all fucked up. And that'll be just day one. All right, just hold it. Find it. Get connected to people. Find a way. Survive the ashfall. So that's like the first couple weeks. All right, the N95 masks, goggles, all that stuff. Don't breathe the ash. Don't breathe it. It'll cut you up. All right, it's not snow, okay? It's gonna look like it's floating and shit, but it's really just little tiny pieces of fragmented hard things. It'll cut you up. It'll also ruin all the water, that surface water, and eventually, just because of the way rivers flow, it's gonna flow into underground aquifers and stuff like that. So it really does. It will take a preparation that nobody, I guarantee, has any preparation for here, and it's almost like an intentional thing. You know, like this whole place feels like they're really setting it up for failure. Battery, solar, wind, power. It's expect it all to go fucky unless we get nuclear reactors up and they're running correctly. 2 to 6 months survival of that. You know, everyone's gonna have to boil all their water. Absolutely. You know, MREs, if you're lucky. If you got anything in, like, guys, it's gonna get bad, right? It's like, I'm reading through this, like, yeah, high hopes there, fucking chat. Rebuild and migrate. 6 months to 2 years. We're gonna remap the Earth, because obviously terrain's gonna be different. Things are gonna look different. Because I'm pairing, Yellowstone along with this other future map guide. Those two things occurring at the same time. That's what it looks like. Decentralized off-grid communities. So me and all my Marines, all my people that are, well, yeah, that might be right, you know? Yeah, I mean, it's just common sense, guys. There's no rescues. Oh, that's not going to be good. Yeah, is it really worth reading all that? I don't think so. So just to break down the zones again, right? Red zone, 0 to 100 kilometers. Okay, population, 250,000. Surviving, 0. Orange zone, that's 100 to 500 kilometers. 10 million people. The amount of people that survive that, 2 to 5%. So that's about 200 to 500,000 people. 10 million people dead. Like that. Yellow zone, 500 to 1,200 kilometers, 60 million. About half people are going to survive. And this is like longer term stuff. Because ash fallout, you get cancer, you can get sick. Food crops, starvation, real bad things. Real bad things. And the green zone, about 1,200 kilometers, 2,000 kilometers out. 85 to 90% of the people are going to survive. So that's not bad. But you're so far away, you won't even. If everything power went out, communications went down, what the fuck's going on? Are we under attack? Everyone's gonna be like, are we under attack? Because 9/11. We are. It's just the Earth. I got tired of our bullshit. I was like, make a plan to rapidly rescue survivors. Yeah, it's pipe dreams, guys. They defunded FEMA. All right, it takes FEMA everyone. I don't know what people think FEMA is, but FEMA essentially hires locals to come out and do things. There's a few agents for that organization, all right? But if there's security, they're outsourcing it. If there's fuel needed, they're outsourcing it. Yeah. If they're, states have their food supplies and stuff, but a lot of the logistics isn't just FEMA doing it. It's third-party contractors doing it. Man, it's just not a good thing if Yellowstone goes off, guys, or when, because we already know it has in the past. And we pole flip, it could be when this underground bullshit. If the pole flips, what's going to happen to the stuff under there? Is the moon going to go with it? Because honestly, As the Earth is rotating like this, the moon is staying kind of right there, turning with it. This is why we're going to talk about the moon later on, because the moon is always looking at the same side at the planet. It is spinning, and it's, but it matches the rotation of the Earth, so the same side of the moon is always facing the Earth. It's really weird and coincidental. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Yep. That's why I said, when the lights go out, know your neighbors. Know your community. The way we live right now is just, it does not bode well for any kind of bad thing that happens, because everyone is individually going through a fucking crisis right now. And it's not even a real fucking crisis. The real shit's on the way. That is bananas. We are not prepared. We are absolutely not prepared. Boop. I'm having a bad day. Now you're not having any days. It's gone. Boop. A little fart in the wind. And, these are just the problems with the weather, right? Problems with weather. Doesn't even talk about, all the assholes afterwards, right? The marauders, the raiders, the pirates, right? All those Mad Max motherfuckers. The real evil that seems to have survived generationally well here in the United States. They're militias. The hate. Not actually trying to help anybody. We can be smart, guys. If we can use the sun to pull water from the atmosphere so we have drinkable water. If we can use the sun to power devices, use the wind to power devices, use a flowing river to power devices. You know what I'm trying to say? This place was designed to be intentionally hard on us. Was it preparation? I mean, dude, if you just had if everyone had this type of mentality instilled, take care of each other, watch out for your neighbors, help each other raise up. You gotta lift each other up. Don't put each other down. Because life's hard enough. It really is. It doesn't need help. We don't need to help whatever this shit is that's fucking with us. It doesn't need our help. We need to give each other some forgiveness. Give each other a break. Because I'm telling you guys, the second, you don't want this shit to happen without us being in a community. Because all of a sudden, you're going to have, it's just stupid fucking bullshit. It's just more of it. Like Colorado, like the Rockies, underwater, huh? I don't know about that, bro. But if this was all supposed to happen in 2012, then we're existing in the timeline where it didn't happen. And if it didn't happen in this timeline, did we have help? Did we find out a solution? Because the Ring of Fire is occurring everywhere else except on the U.S. side. I mean, Alaska got a little thing. Mexico's got a little thing. But it seems like everything's going pretty well over here. I don't know, guys. Let me know what y'all think about this. If we're closest to the sun, first week of January, and things are cooking right now, we're at the furthest from the sun. The days are shorter for us because of the wobble right? So as the Earth goes around, it's not necessarily 1 year does this. No, it's thousands of years that it does this, and the Earth has a wobble. But as we get Christmas time, days are shorter. Who knows, guys? They said a lot of crazy shit's happening in 2025, and then we got 3i Atlas object coming at us. Who's gonna... How does this go? And on that note, I think we'll leave it there. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate your time if you made it through the whole episode. And I'll be live again tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to talk about UFOs and aliens. And it'll be a lengthy one too. I didn't really mean for this one. I was aiming for an hour, but this is a unique topic. And it ain't going to be the last time we're going to talk about it. There's going to be more activity coming. It's ramping up. It's actively ramping up. Like in the past month, we've had just boom, 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 boom. And I'm sure there's going to be volcanoes, because when it's our winter, it's Australia's summer. So if we're getting this right now, we're far away from it. Australia's probably going to have its own activity showing up down there around Christmas time. That's something we're all going to be aware about when it happens. And, I'm not told you so or anything like that, but well, if we have this foresight, if you have a guy like me being able to articulate this like this, and I'm assuming it's going to make sense to someone out there, we can do stuff about it. We got to get in that mindset of being proactive and not reactive, because the things that are coming, there's nothing to react to. The time for reaction was the second you had the thought about it, all right? Like now, right? We got to get together on this, guys. All right. And support me, because I'm going to keep talking about this shit every goddamn day. All these crazy things that are occurring, we're going to keep talking about them. So comment, like, subscribe, engage me. All right. And yeah, we'll be all right. My dad told me I'll be okay, even though it's been the worst time of my life since he passed away. But yeah, you got to have faith. You got to have faith that everything's going to be all right. And if it wasn't going to be all right, it would have been, I wouldn't be here. I know that for sure. If it wasn't going to be okay, I wouldn't be here. All right, guys. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.